This first email habit takes less than a minute to set up and guarantees you never miss an important email again, and it is, instead of going through your inbox top to bottom, you start from the bottom and work your way up. The biggest benefit of this workflow is by forcing ourselves to go through the oldest emails first, we will have all the relevant information to work on the newer emails, saving us from potential embarrassment. To do this correctly though, we need to first change a few settings. If you're using Gmail, go to Settings, Advanced tab, enable Auto Advance, Save Changes. Then going back into Settings, General tab, select Go to the next newer conversation, and turn on keyboard shortcuts. Save changes. For Outlook users, go to Settings, Layout, turn off Focused Inbox, choose Newest on top under Reading pane, select Open the previous item, and let me select which message to read first. Save settings. This leads me to habit number 2. Since we know to start our workday at the very bottom, since there's nowhere to go but up, get it? Here are 3 keyboard shortcuts that will literally save you 30 minutes every day. Clicking into the bottommost email, if no action is required from you, press E to archive. And since we enabled the auto advance feature earlier, we're brought to the next newer email automatically. And if an email is going to take more than 2 minutes to work on, press K to move on to the next email without archiving, so you can circle back later. And finally, you can press B to snooze an email to a later date. Pro tip, always snooze an email if the action required from you is due more than a week from now. For example, if you're asked to present in the next monthly meeting, there's no point having this email sit in your inbox for an entire month. You'll forget anyways. So snooze this until a week or a couple days beforehand when you will actually begin to work on it. Productive email habit number 3, when sending an email with attachments, instead of just writing, see attachments for reference, actually take a few seconds to describe the attachment in the email body. Funnily enough, you're not actually doing this for the recipient, but rather for yourself, so you can easily search for attachment by typing in the descriptive keyword, Taiwan visa in this example, has attachment, press enter, and there you go. Speaking of these filter chips within Gmail, productivity tip number 4 is to get into the habit of using them instead of outdated search operators. For example, instead of typing out in sent or clicking into the sent folder, you can just simply click into the search bar, select from me, and type in the keyword you're searching for. Pro tip, by default, only 3 filter chips are shown, but when we select has attachment, for example, and press enter to return an empty search, we see all these additional options appear that will help us refine our search. In particular, this exclude calendar updates one is super helpful to filter out irrelevant calendar notifications. By the way, this video is not sponsored, but it is supported by those of you who subscribe to my paid productivity newsletter on Google Tips and Tricks. Link in the description to learn more. Email habit for productivity number 5. After composing an email, take 5 seconds to see if there's a relevant label you want to assign, or if you're a star person, whether or not you want to add a star. Taking the extra few seconds to do this will save you 10, 20, 30 minutes down the line when you're trying to find this one email. Staying within the compose window, we move to habit number 6. For emails you send on a regular basis, save your draft as a template so you can reuse the same structure over and over again. For example, I regularly run productivity workshops for my colleagues, those lucky bastards. And in 2 clicks, 1, 2, I have this pre-populated follow-up email draft I can send asking for their feedback. And the brackets represent values I need to update. Pro tip, if you regularly use ChatGPT to help write emails, save all email-related prompts using the templates function so you can easily access this within 1 click instead of having to go back to a central prompt database. The 7th habit to get into is to make the most out of our commute by using our email apps productively. Instead of just scanning through emails on your way to work, set up your app so that a right swipe archives the email and a left swipe moves the email to a label or folder. These settings can be enabled in most email applications, and this one-time setup means by the time you arrive in the workplace, your inbox is already mostly organized and ready for you to tackle. Email habit number 8 applies when someone's asking for a meeting. Instead of going to calendar and finding a time that works for both of you, simply click the 3 dots directly in your reply window, set up a time to meet, and offer times you're free. This brings up Google Calendar in the companion bar, and if you select the time range where you're free, it will offer time slots for the recipient to pick from. which drastically reduces the back and forth that usually goes into scheduling a meeting. Alternatively, if you're the boss, you can go back to set up a time to meet, create an event, and now you can create a non-negotiable time for the meeting. The email subject line will be used as the meeting title, and all recipients will be added as attendees. Again, super efficient. Habit number 9 for productivity is a lifesaver if you collaborate with others on shared documents. You might have received notifications like this from Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, even if the comment is not relevant for you. Under the notification settings here, I highly recommend changing the notifications you receive from comments from all to for you. And for edits, choose none. Unless you are a huge micromanager and control freak, which I am definitely not. Some of you might have noticed this interesting setup for my inbox, and that is actually email tip number 10, the Inbox Zero setup. Basically, Inbox Zero was created by Jake Knapp, an ex-Googler and the author of Make Time, and it's the golden standard when it comes to email workflows. In a nutshell, this setup allocates all emails you will ever receive in 3 buckets. Follow-up, where you need to take action, awaiting reply, where you have delegated that action to someone else, and read through later for future reference. All other emails should be archived. You can implement Inbox Zero on all major email platforms, and I've actually created tutorials for both Gmail and Microsoft Outlook. See you all in the next video. In the meantime, have a great one.